Welcome to this episode of Let's Talk Premises. My name's Richard.
And my name is Romy. Richard, today we're going to be talking about something that changed quietly at the end of January that I suspect probably a lot of people in schools haven't quite clocked yet.
That's right. Yeah. It's one of those things that probably sounds quite dry when you sort of say it on the surface, but a government body has separated from another government body. So, the practical implications for anyone running a school or a trust are pretty significant. The building safety regulator, the BSR, has become an independent body. It was part of the HSE and now it's not.
Okay, so can you just elaborate on what that means day to day for a school now?
Yeah. Basically means that schools and trusts are now answerable to two separate regulators with different sets of expectations. And that's genuinely a new situation.
Okay, so how about you just walk us through how those two regulators are now going to divide things up? I imagine people have always just thought of the HSE as a safety regulator, full stop. So can you now tell me how those two are going to be dividing things?
That's it. Yeah, no, of course. So the HSE, is the name everyone knows, of course, and it's known for the safety and stuff. And it obviously still has a role. It still covers your staff and your pupils stuff and in schools, everyday stuff for workplace safety and all that. But yeah, it's the BSR is now that sort of authority for the physical integrity of the buildings themselves, the structure, the statutory compliance, the safety of the safety of the fabric of the building, and
Yeah.
this came out of that sort of Grenfell inquiry, the conclusion being that the building safety needed its own dedicated specialist rather than sitting within a broader health and safety body. So it was separated out.
And that separation happened at the end of January this year.
Yeah, literally just a couple of months ago. So it's really recent. So any capital project, refurbishment or major planned maintenance is now operating under a much stricter building control regime, and as a result, and that's a practical change.
Yeah, and you mentioned in your article, you wrote a blog about this, didn't you?
Yeah.
The idea of like a golden thread of information.
Yeah.
That phrase does get used a lot in building safety conversations. What does it actually mean in a school context?
So the golden thread is basically the idea that there should be this continuous digital joined up record of a building, its condition, its maintenance history, its compliance status, not just like a folder in a cupboard or a chain of emails or a spreadsheet that one person updates and three people can't find or something. It needs to be a live, structured record.
And the BSR will expect to see that.
Yeah. So that's obviously the direction of travel we're going now. So the regulators want to see a structured set of data that demonstrates you're maintaining a safe environment proactively, not, not evidence that you've scrambled together or after the fact. It's that era of spending those frantic weeks digging through old emails or whatever, proving that you're compliant. It's just that approach isn't going to hold up anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it does sound obvious when you put it like that, but I suspect the reality is going to be that a lot of schools, it will still be quite fragmented.
I guess so, yeah, probably very. Some schools, really still live in folders. Some schools have purchased basic systems, but they're starting to realise that they're just not enough for what they need. And statutory compliance, building condition, day-to-day maintenance in a lot of schools and trusts, they do live in these separate places, with no real overview. And that's where the administrative headache will start becoming clear when that regulator comes knocking.
That is the problem, though. I think that there is going to be a risk that people will just hear more regulation and probably just switch off, because I can imagine that's probably quite a common response when people hear that there will be more regulation.
Yeah, no, completely. But I would push back on that framing slightly, only because there's actually a real practical benefit here that I think gets missed a lot. Yes, it's quite daunting. It could sound like it's going to be a bit of a headache, but actually moving away from reactive firefighting, fixing things when they break or scrambling to get compliance evidence or whatever, going towards a planned, informed decision is so much better for everyone, like the site teams, the business managers, the leadership, everyone.
Yeah. And how do you think that will be then for the positions you said above, site teams, business managers? How is that going to affect them?
Well, if you have a clear system of record, right, you move away from hoping your school is compliant because everyone says, no, we are compliant, but there's no actual evidence. It's just someone sort of reporting on this and saying that they are. When you move to knowing that you're compliant, it makes things so much less stressful. So when the BSR asks for evidence for building integrity, you got the answers ready. You're not starting from scratch. You're not doing it that way anymore. And that shift from reactive to planned is just less stressful to run. And, it's what they expect now, so these two things align.
Yeah, and of course, it isn't just a site manager issue, is it?
No.
You're saying it's going to go right to the top of the organisation, so head teachers, leaders of trusts.
Yeah, it has to.
Yeah.
Like, that's the big change in tone from the BSR. It's expected to be a top-down culture. It's not something that you delegate entirely to a site team and then forget about it. Like, the leadership needs to be able to account for it. That means that the information has to flow upwards, and for that to work, it needs to be structured, accessible in the first place.
Perfect. So, Richard, if there was just one line that you could say to a head teacher or a trust COO that might be listening to this, what do they need to take away from these guidelines?
You have now two regulators, not one, and neither of them is interested in a pile of paper in a cupboard. If you can't evidence building safety at I'd say the drop of a hat almost, you're going to have a problem. And it's time to sort that out now. And you've got time to sort this out now. Okay. Not once you're asked and then trying to do this afterwards.
Perfect. That is literally clear enough, and probably a perfect place to end as well. Thanks everyone for listening to this episode of Let's Talk Premises. We will link some more to the BSR separation in the show notes. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we will see you next time.
Thank you very much.